Hi everyone. Okay, this now we're normal. Hi. Oh, good. Hi everyone. Hi Parul. I think there was a little bit of a bandwidth issue at my end, so my video was not loading. Can everyone see everything, hear everything okay today? Okay, requests coming in. Superb. Let me start noting them down. Pineapple and kiwi. Okay, so today was a food illustration was something a lot of people have asked for a while, and I'm gonna try and do some easy foods. Last time for food illustration we had done the recipe of mojito, but this time round I think this is a good idea. Maybe you can suggest what I can make for you, and then we can just go with that. Dragon fruit, watermelon. And maybe what I can do is with each of those I can also show you some kind of lettering style that might work. Okay, so yeah, strawberry, yes, definitely. All right, lemon, yes. Avocado, lovely. Pumpkin. Cooked food like spaghetti, okay. Cucumber. Jam fruit. Jam. Yeah, okay. So that's jam. Yeah, that's a lovely fruit. Muffins, all right. Wow, this is a lovely selection. Pie, fantastic. Okay. Pomegranate and pineapple. Okay, so poms, we'll do those. Great. So let's begin. We have enough material to start these, and I'm going to try and do them in some kind of collection so that you know how they are related to each other, and then illustrating them becomes a lot easier. Right, so I have made a few of these earlier. I love making these cutout fruit, so I'll show you some of these as well. Now if you think about just the shapes of certain fruits, you'll notice that there is a certain similarity in certain fruits, so some kind of relation that we can build in shapes of different fruit. So it helps that like all your chilies, your bhindi, beans, all of them will be in this category. So how do you differentiate one from the other? And then you have all these fruity looking vegetables and fruits. So you have tomato, apple, eggplant, and all these which look different. So I'll I'll start with a few. A for apple, that's the easiest to do, but I'll also show you how the apple looks different from the tomato. Now, if you might notice that the tomato is usually round, so you have a flattish round, and on any one side you make this crown shape, and that will look like a tomato. I'll just hold it closer. Materials needed today just will be pencil, watercolor. If you've got color pencils, you can use those. Right, so this is a tomato, and you can also make a little bit of a highlight over here. I'll be coloring this in watercolor. If we have time, I'll also do it in color pencil, at least a few of them. Now, how do you make an apple? Very often an apple is it's a little more elongated but rounder, and it's got a dimple at one end, and if you want you can also show a little bit of a stalk from one end. So that's how a tomato looks different from an apple. But when you want to take this a little further, you can also make a shape like that, and you can get bell pepper. So you can practice making all these fruit and vegetables together. Yeah, and all of them you can make a little bit of a reflection on any one side, and that'll make it look more realistic. I will make the tomato a little darker also. There we go. That's how you can draw related fruit. In the same vein, you can also make something like this, and you can make sorry, this is too pronounced. So you have a plum, just a little shape difference, and you have a peach. A peach will not have this kind of reflection. Cupcakes, yeah, let's make cupcakes as well. So what I'm trying to show you is that just a little bit of modification and you can draw different kinds of fruit. So like we did yesterday, on all of these just put a little like a very flattened C shape underneath them so that we can make a shadow, and let's start painting this. Cool. And if you think of any fruit or vegetable like that, I think just to balance this, I'm also going to make half of this. Bell peppers look really beautiful, so sometimes I will make a bell pepper just because it looks very nice. I'm making this stalk on one side and this same shape, and like two C's, elongated C's, and this is one side will have a stalk and one side will have, I don't know what the other side is called, but it's also got some filling, and then you draw the internal membrane like that. So just draw a wavy line that goes along the sides and just draw a whole lot of seeds that look like they're attached, and then come and attach this membrane onto this. Looks really nice as well. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little thick outline. And let's start painting. We can also make a lemon in this, and again it's slightly oval, a little bit of a dimple on one side, and you have a stalk. And I like to put in a leaf on a lemon because that's very plausible. Lemons also will have a little bit of reflection, and I also will give these kind of dimple textures just on the opposite side of the highlight so that it looks like there's some texture to it. Okay, so lemons, and we might as well make oranges. So I'm going to make half an orange because it's about almost the same thing that you see everywhere. On any one point, just make this little depression so it looks like that's where the stalk was attached. And you can make this boat shape for a segment. Now remember, when you're making something like oranges or sweet lime, make your line go a little wobbly because then it shows the ridges. And even here you can just do something like that to indicate the segments of an orange. It does not need more than this. That's good enough. Yeah, half a lemon, or I think I can do a lemon slice or chopped up lemon. So again, you can make a shape like that which looks like a boat, and you can do a triangular shape on one side, so that looks like a lemon wedge, and we'll give that also a shadow. So let's start coloring these. This is quite a nice bunch we've got. Okay, so start always from the lightest to the darkest color. We can make this lemon yellow, this will be orange, this will be orange and crimson, orange and scarlet, this will be scarlet and crimson. Let's make a red bell pepper, a green bell pepper, peach will be a very light color, and plum will be purple. So I'm going to do this relatively quick. I'll do this lemon yellow, and I'll put the colors down as well so we can have them for reference. Lemon yellow and sap green, because lemon yellow is just too bright and you don't want it that fluorescent bright. So you can add a little bit of yellow ochre, chrome yellow or gamboge, and we are going to do all the testers around here so the whole picture looks well composed. So I'm going to give this is becoming a greenish lemon, so I'm going to give it a light wash. This is going to be layer 1. And I'm going to wait for this to dry and then come back and do another wash. Moving to the orange, I'm going to mix gamboge and orange together because orange in itself is too distinct, the color orange. Again, painting would be flatten the brush and pull the color down. And because we've made this segment orange, you can just do a light wash across this whole thing by pressing your brush, so it's not as deep as the lemon. We can go, the orange itself, and we can go over the orange one more time. going to put this color down. If you want, you can also split the colors up, so you can make an orange and put gamboge over here and write what you have mixed, but keep the original colors. So this is lemon yellow plus sap green. Now, in order to save some time and space, I will do without the W, because we know what yellow is spelt like. So this is just to keep our information really tight. And this is orange and gamboge. Okay, cool. This is just one layer. We'll come back and make another layer. Now I like to work in the sequence like that, because that way our colors, our water remains relatively clean. I'm going to reduce the light a little bit. Okay, hopefully it won't be burnt out now. Okay, for tomatoes, let's go with orange and scarlet. Again, a nice light wash. And pull the color downward, so that this excess color can sit in the bottom. That looks a little more natural and makes the picture look a lot more three-dimensional than if the paint is all over the place. Eyes in the fruit, yeah, sure, you can make eyes in the fruit if you want to. That's really creepy fruit, but why not? And now for the apple, I'm going to mix scarlet and crimson. So if you notice, we have gone from lemon yellow or sap green and lemon yellow, that's one side of the color wheel, to gamboge or a deeper yellow, to orange, to scarlet, and then now going towards a deeper red. And as we proceed, we are going to go towards blue and make a purple. For the tomato, I have used orange and scarlet, and for the apple, now I'm going to use scarlet and crimson. So I hydrate these two, and I just dip from one to the other and paint direct. If you are comfortable with watercolor by now, and you have an idea of how much paint you have in your brush, then you need not test in the palette. But if you're not, please go ahead and put some color on the palette and check on a sheet of paper if that's the shade you want. The shade, the consistency, all of that can be tested. I'll be writing down these color mixes, so so when I put up this picture later on, you can refer to those again if you want to make these, or if you want to write them down in your own work. This is scarlet plus orange, and this is scarlet plus crimson. I like to balance out my lettering to the illustration, so I want to keep the center aligned, and I don't necessarily have to write the word orange, it'll stick out too much, so I just write ORA and that's good enough. That's as much information as I need. Okay, and now shall we make Now let's make the peach, because then we can transition towards the purple and the greens. I'm using a mix of leftover colors. These will be gamboge, a little bit of orange or scarlet. There's a little bit of yellow ochre, and it's all very watery. So the leftover paints can be a boon sometimes. And I'm going to, so not exactly a peachy color, maybe I can add a little bit of crimson to it. No, I failed in this one big time. Let's see how it dries up, and then maybe we can do a second layer. Okay. Now peaches are very fuzzy fruits, so they will not have such a distinct highlight. So I will, after I have painted this, let it dry just a little bit, wipe my brush away, wash and wipe it, and then I'll just do this thing. So you don't have a very hard highlight, but you still get to see a little lightness in some areas, and that can be quite nice. Yeah, so for peach, just a very watered down yellow and crimson and scarlet, a little bit of orange, and can you see all the colors over here? That's all I mixed together, and I've got a slightly brownish shade, but I think you can get some kind of peachy tone with that. Alright, and now we can make the plum. This is one of my favorite colors to make, which is crimson and ultramarine blue. Now whenever you're mixing colors, don't make one unified puddle. Always have the original colors separate, so you can keep adding if you need to. If you just make one big puddle and then you're unhappy, then you'll keep adding from here and then keep adding from there, and it just becomes a big, just a big puddle. Okay, and now we make the plum. And I'm going to, now you'll notice that the shape of the plum and tomato is almost identical, but what's missing in the plum is that crown that I've given the tomato, and of course the color is different, but the shape is the same. So you can and this exact same color you can use to paint the eggplant, which I'm going to make here. Sorry, this won't be visible, where it's like one tiny circle and one big circle. You visualize that, which is like this and overlapping like that, and then you have a line that goes all around it. And then eggplant also sometimes has this interesting stalk sticking out. The stalks usually look very nice. Okay, so the same colors on plum, you have crimson and ultramarine, and you can change the shade of the eggplant a little bit, and you can give it a nice kidney bean or kidney shaped highlight to make its shape even more distinctive. And while the colors are wet, you can also, because there are certain color variations, just add a little more blue, ultramarine blue in a certain place. You can go back into it with another layer if you want to. The colors of the plum are, I'm going to write them here. I'll make one here. It's crimson. That's this crimson. That's a much deeper red than a scarlet. So crimson and ultramarine blue. Those are the two plum colors. Okay, so we have seen the whole transition moving from lemons, oranges, tomatoes, apple, peach, plum, and eggplant. And now we'll do, it's the same process. I think now you must be very comfortable with the painting. The same process to make the bell pepper. I will paint the whole thing in green first. Just leave the highlights. For those of you who attended the session yesterday, like we painted the beetles, that little bit of highlight made the beetles look so much more charming. It's the same thing that works with fruit and vegetables as well. Again over here, now remember the segments in a cut. What is this? Bell pepper are very light, so you can do a very light wash all over. The hollows are much deeper, and then a second layer you can come back and make it deeper. You can use the same sap green for the leaf of the lemon. And just a nice brown color mixed with a little bit of blue for all the stalks, so that except for the maybe for the green stalks, let's do another one. Okay, the same sap green for the stalk of the tomato. It does not have so many I think it's just got 5 of these. I've counted around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's just not a botanically accurate tomato, but it's okay. Okay, now here I'm just gonna do the writing bit. I'm writing sap green here. I'll put that dot later. Yeah, doesn't the page look just so beautiful? Just love how this looks. Right, so now while this is drying, I will show you how to draw some cooked food, some ready foods. I think desserts is an all-time favorite with everyone. So let's do some desserts. Where were the spaghetti, muffins? Okay, so muffins are really easy to make. How do we make muffins? So they're like a crown on top, and then right, let's see. Let's start with making the base. The base is, now these lines have to be very very wobbly. The shape has to be distinct, but the lines have to be wobbly. Because if you draw a straight line, this will look more like a cup or a glass. But if it's wobbly, then it looks like something more organic. And with muffins, you can, so it's like a wide shape like that. And I would also put in a few chocolate chips and also create this shape. So it's the line that is telling that this is not a, a cup, or it's what kind of food it might be. And here, if you want, you can draw a few lines to make it look like it was in a mold, and always have a few crumbs lying around to indicate that this has got texture to it. And just draw a few dots here and there, do a little bit of stippling, and this will look like a muffin. Okay, next we had pie. Okay, so a pie can be a little tricky, especially if you want to do something like lattice work on top of it. But if you don't, then we can try something simple. What pie? What pie? Any cooked food is a little difficult to make because it has to look pretty, so you always need something on top of that. So while I'm thinking about how to make a pie, I will show you how to make a burger. Again, make the line really wobbly and draw just a base like that, and then slightly smoother line, but again not too smooth. This will be the top of our bun, and draw flattened teardrop shapes to indicate those nice sesame seeds, and also a few just off the edge to give it dimension. And then it's very easy, then you just do this squiggly kind of line for the lettuce. You can throw in a piece of slice of cheese if you want to, and then maybe a slice of tomato that's sticking out. Always give your tomato a little bit of thickness, because if you just make it without thickness, it looks terrible. You can show the burger patty like that, and again at the bottom you can throw in a little bit of lettuce, and the bottom of the burger again a slightly smoother but yet wavery line. That should be it. You can make a few lines like that on the side to show roundness, and again a few crumbs here or there, that should be enough. A little bit of stippling, and that should do it. I'm just going to complete this. Okay, and what else can we make? We can make a slice of pizza. Is very easy to make. That should be easy, but you have to visualize that slice, and you have to also see what all you want to put in it. So let's first draw this an angle, but don't draw a straight line. Draw a slightly curved line, so you already get a slice of pizza done. And then this is where our sauce and cheese is going to be, and just roll it a little to the side. And again the bottom has to be slightly, what is the words, scraggly line. Now this is this part is kind of defined now, but now depending upon the toppings, French fries, ice cream, cake. Yeah, there's so much food to make. We have to go to do more sessions. I'll do one ice cream with a cherry or a strawberry or something on top. Okay, so now what we do is first we put in our toppings. I like to put in a little bit of jalapeno because it looks just so distinctive. Again, give it a little bit of thickness. You can also make olives, so make an oval, give it a little thickness and some holes. Change the orientation of all your ingredients. Put a little piece of whatever you want. Then maybe if you want to put some meats. And then make your cheese a little runny. And also some holes in the cheese. Okay. Yeah, fries are the easiest to make. Yeah, so I'll make the fries right next to the burgers. Just draw 3 lines like that and just join those 3 lines like so. 1, 2, 3, and just join them in any form. And they start looking like fries. You don't need to do anything more than that. 1, 2, 3, join them and just pull this down. That's about it. So if a detailed chip had to be made, you can make it like so, but otherwise you can just do this. Yeah, onion on the pizza, again, it's very simple. Just make these shapes like that. That's your onion. And one last one for somebody who'd... Okay, mushrooms. Yeah, that's a great idea. Mushrooms is good. I'll just show you the mushroom here. So it's like a C shape and just a little fat C, and then you pull this down and give a bit of a line like that. That's how you can make mushroom. Yes, so ice cream, again, I start from the top. So I'll start with cherry, and I'm going to make these lines that I'm visualizing a whole scoop of ice cream, but I'm going to go back and forth like that in some places. And some places I'm just going to go straight through, so the scoop looks a little more organic. And now you could make a waffle cone, or if you want, you can also make I like to make an ice cream bowl. Something just so romantic about that. I remember as a child I think I ate the ice cream just because it came in this fancy bowl. Not the best version, but I think this does the trick. Yeah, donut. Yes, donut is the easiest thing to draw. So you can draw a very shallow bowl-like shape, and then on the inside make a shape like that, and then around this all you'll make is an oval. That's your donut. Shape is slightly off, and then you can put sprinkles on this, or you can put icing on this if you want, whatever. That's how you would do it. Okay, so we have another 15 minutes. I'll probably color these and put up the pictures later, but I wanted to finish these fruit because at least let's get one thing done properly. Okay, yeah, it's looking great. I will now finish these fruit off. The little wedge of lemon remained. I'll paint that fellow. It's become too green, so I'm just lifting some of the color up and using sap green again to go over the darker parts of the bell pepper. Yeah, don't worry about the patchy colors. They see even mine are pretty patchy. Don't worry about that. It's this is a feature of watercolor itself. So trying to make it too even will look awful. And wait till the whole thing dries. Till the whole picture dries, and you'll notice that actually the color variations look quite nice. But I'm going to give you a tip for those of you who are in the habit of painting very slowly. Your patches will become more distinct. So try and paint in one shot. So I'm just going to show you how I do this. I don't paint very slowly like a wall painter. I will do this. I will spread my brush out and be able to cover large distances in one swath of that brush. So before the paint realizes that it has been put on paper, you just move ahead. That's how you need to do. For if you have excess paint and you want to lift it off, like what happened over here, just wash and wipe your brush and just come and horizontally press it over your the area that you want lightened. Oh, I won't be able to do a pineapple right now because I just want to finish these, but maybe we can do a pineapple in the next another class. Right, so I'm going back into my shadows. This is the same what's this, cerulean blue, a wash of cerulean blue. Oops, sorry, off screen. There. I'm using a very fat brush for this. It's a 10 number brush, a 10 number round brush. But it's got a very good tip. You need to that's why I'll get fewer patches because I can cover more ground in one shot. Okay. Right, did any of you wonder why you're doing a blue shadow rather than a gray or a black shadow? Because I don't think I gave an explanation yesterday. Tube colors I find can be a little cumbersome because you have to carry them around and then every time you have to remove them. But unless you're doing a very specific art project and you have the time to do it, I recommend to just keep cakes handy because they're much more convenient. Okay, so now let's do a little bit of lettering so we can finish this off. You can use gray as a shadow, but gray tends to bring everything down a little bit. It makes everything a little dowdy. Now, in a situation like that where actually everything is so tight, how can you letter and make things look pretty? I would recommend that we try writing along the contour of the fruit in a particular orientation because I think there is some space there. For those of you who are comfortable with running hand, please avoid. I have noticed a lot of you get very excited about lettering and you will do something like this and try to make your letters look really complex, but they tend to attract far too much attention. Instead of this, you can just write something as simple as this, and avoid making too many flourishes. Oh yeah, the top of the aubergine. Sorry. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, and for those of you who are not comfortable with a running hand, just try doing this. Just make very long letters, but don't seat them right on top of the fruit. Keep about 2 mm 3 mm away, and try writing your letters really tall and slim, and make sure that your baseline looks like it's parallel to the contour of your drawing. That invisible baseline itself becomes a part of the composition. Okay, let's try apple. Also keep the letters far apart. Now in this case these two are the same, so you could probably write the name in the middle, and I'm going to do a little bit of running hand lettering, or you can also write it like that, but let's see how this goes. I'm keeping it really simple, and also playing with this as if the letter's gone behind the pepper itself. Okay, then we have plum, peach, sorry, this is how it's looking, lemon or lime, depending upon the color you've made. And I'm going to try writing the word orange around the fruit in running hand. This can sometimes be a challenge. The trick is that every time you're writing a letter, stop and orient the letter and keep changing its angle or baseline. And finally we have eggplant, and here I'll write it along this side. There, well composed picture. I love when everything is nicely balanced. The colored dots are also part of the composition. Oops. You can make these colors deeper by making a second layer if you want to, like we made the bell pepper. And let's title this page food illustration. The word illustration is fairly large, so I'm going to focus on the word food over here. But again, when you are labeling anything or titling anything, try and see that you leave at least 1 centimeter space from all sides. In order to appreciate an artwork, you need to have some space from the sides, and then the picture looks good. If it starts going far too much to the corner, it starts disturbing how our eye receives it. Okay, so this is going to be my baseline, and I have to still write the colors of the peach, so I'm going to leave space here and just do this. One word can be slightly fancy. There's food, and I will write illustration a lot simpler. Oh, that became too large. With each letter, wait and see that your letters are in a straight line and not climbing up or down. Right. So see how this starts creating a nice frame. The negative space balance makes a lot of difference in your picture. And now for those of you who feel you want to sign your pictures, I'm going to recommend, don't go and sign somewhere over here. This is like no man's land. You cannot do anything in this unless that's part of your composition. So see this negative space, you can write your name here or the date here, and you can turn it around because this information is not really vital. It is less important than all this information. So I'm just going to write today's date in words. I don't even know what today's date is. Today is Saturday, I think. Does anyone know what the date is today? The peach color, the peach color is yellow ochre plus gamboge plus scarlet, and maybe a little bit of, today is the 18th. Thank you so much. Thank you. I cannot check on my phone. We've truly become pre-industrial. We don't know what a weekend is anymore. Okay, Saturday, 18 April. Sorry, I've just got off screen. Let me just finish this. Right, this is how I've written it, and I'll keep it down so you may not be able to see it properly, but you might be able to tell how this balances one side and the other side. You can also write some title over here if you want to, and that's it. Just the tip of the iceberg as far as food is concerned. I'll just bring the other fruit here as well, and as you can see now, what I've done with these is to draw a thick line around it. You can make outlines, but I like how light this looks. Again, depending upon your application, you can make outlines. This was the onion. I'm going to keep it close to the peach. This was the earlier eggplant, so I'm going to just keep them all in their color coordinated family homes. So when you're making recipes, for example, you don't necessarily, if you forget an ingredient or something, you can just make an extra piece and just stick it along the edge of the page. So that also can look very interesting. Yeah, the whole session definitely will be posted on live stories, and I have great hopes today that this will also go on YouTube. So, as usual, let's keep our fingers crossed. Onion, it's almost exactly the same color as the peach, but a little more, um, little, a little more burnt sienna, I think. I'll just hold it closer. Let's see. A little further. The colors on the screen are not looking very, they could be a little weird, but please test out your colors. Do I use sticker tapes? I don't know what that means. Yeah, you can use coffee to make the onion also. That also looks nice. YouTube channel name, it's very long, so I have posted that on my bio, and you might just have to type it out because it's not a link. Unfortunately, I haven't figured that out. Let me make a link out of that. So yeah, thank you everyone. This was awesome, just amazing as usual. And this is my little food illustration board. Coloring with pencils, yeah, I think one day I'm just going to do a color pencil session. It's pretty much the same thing, but color pencils usually take a long time. But I might do one session where whoever has the patience can sit through with me and finish it. But we'll put that for another time. Next week on Tuesday, I'm hoping to do a sketch off with my daughter. So there might be two people on screen, and we will be sketching a portrait of someone, a black and white portrait in pencil. So if those of you who want to, you can find pictures that you want to make, use the tips that I give, and maybe some tips that my daughter Ira gives, and maybe you can also make your own portraits. That'll be next week on Tuesday. Yeah, I'm also going to be announcing some online sessions, so we might do a whole week of food illustration at a different time. These will be a proper paid workshops, but they could require a week-long session. So we'll do food illustration, we will do lettering. Tomorrow we can do. Tomorrow, what can we do? What are the suggestions? What do you have? We can do. I don't know. We can do lots of things. Maybe tomorrow I can show you how to make a journal page. So tomorrow, what you can do is look for about 2 or 3 things that you can write about on a journal page, and let's do that. Travel is a great theme. Let me put travel for Monday, and tomorrow I'll show you how to make a journal, an everyday journal which you can continue throughout this session, even after my sessions have stopped. And then Monday we'll do travel journal. So yeah, just 50 seconds to go. Thank you everybody, and bye. I'll see you tomorrow.